Intel is a contender again. They've got their Arc GPUs. They've got the 12900KS and more. So they're already shipping their GPUs to OEMs, which means we're going to see them integrated into add-in boards as well as laptops. 50 designs expected in Q1. Pretty awesome. Arc Alchemist is built on TSMC's N6 process, which is currently relatively clear of GPUs. That's honestly, in my opinion, the most exciting thing about this. We're expecting Arc Alchemist to be a relatively mainstream tier GPU. And again, that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about sheer quantity of GPUs. That's how you drive down the demand, which is how you drive down the prices. You get GPUs in the hands of gamers who need them to play games. So it's built on the N6 process, which is completely untapped for GPUs at this time. So this is net new capacity. The new GPUs will be able to work in tandem with integrated XE graphics to split up workloads, such as Intel's example of exporting video in DaVinci Resolve, accelerating the process by 40%. They weren't done with high-end 12th Gen Core, though. They've got a new 12900K SKU, and you know what I love most about the KS? Okay, this is a binned 12900K that can do 5.5 gigahertz single core and over 5 gigahertz all-core boost out of the freaking box.
It's cool.
But this is obviously something that Intel wouldn't have bothered to do if they didn't feel like they had to. Isn't competition wonderful, ladies and gentlemen?
It's good.
We don't know exactly what to expect in terms of performance from AMD's Ryzen 7 5800X3D, but they claimed that it will be the world's fastest gaming processor, that it is due out this spring, and clearly those claims are credible enough sounding that Intel felt the need to respond. I love this. I mean, if GPUs hadn't been such an absolute show over the last couple of years, this would have actually been one of the most exciting periods in tech in recent memory.
If GPUs were purchasable, that's it. Yeah.
That's it.
It would be amazing.
That's it. I mean...
And there would be games that would actually push the hardware, and like it would have been an amazing... Yeah, would have been great.
Okay, we got to talk about that a little bit later. I know what you're referring to as Halo Infinite, and I've got something really cool to show you that is sort of Halo Infinite related. Just remind me later. It's that thing that I was pointing to over in my bag over there. So super excited for the KS. Not that excited for pricing. That's one thing that has happened in the CPU space is as Intel and AMD are absolutely pushing the limits of what they can build and what they can bin for. We're definitely seeing prices creep up a little bit. AMD's also got the swagger to actually price their products, expensively now. I've seen some sort of controversy even around AMD's decision to make their 3D V-Cache exclusive to the 5800 tier rather than doing a 5600. I think that's an example of AMD optimizing for business rather than necessarily for the consumer. I think it's a fair enough criticism, but I also am a big enough fan of the 5800X that it doesn't really bother me that much, to be honest with you. I think that if you are serious about gaming, not just today, but tomorrow, the 5800X is a really... I think it is worth the extra layout. That's basically what I'll say about it. Don't feel bad if you go with the 5600X. And to be clear, AM4 dead platform. And if anything, if I was buying into AM4 today, I would probably cheap out. I'd probably go Ryzen 3000.
Okay.
And I would solid. And I'd wait it out. I'd go Ryzen 3000 today. And then I'd wait for later on this year when AM5 is supposed to come out with support for DDR5, with Zen 4, with all this hyper exciting new tech. I'd wait for all those, rich kids to go out and buy AM5, and then I'd pick up the, a 5900X or something even. I'd go treat myself because I'm basically getting it for a fraction of the price.
Right.
I mean, that was always my jam. When I knew a platform was dead end, I was always waiting to pounce on it for when the next new thing came out. And what's so exciting is that things are changing so fast. Things are changing so fast that you can actually plan ahead to that degree again. I mean, there was a time when you would have heard from me. I would have said, don't even think about the future. Just buy whatever's in front of you today, because realistically, the next one's not going to be that much better anyway. Right, though?
It's true. It's true.
It's so frustrating. So really, really excited to see how the heavyweight battle, or I guess you could call this more of like a middleweight battle between the 12900 KS and the 5800 X3D turns out. We've also got non-K Alder Lake SKUs. I mean, these are, honestly speaking, the real game changer for 12th gen. It's great to take back the performance crown. You know, Intel, AMD, NVIDIA, no matter who you are, Apple, you want the performance crown. It's such an important marketing piece. It's one of the reasons that, you know, Tesla never shuts up about their 0 to 60 times, for example, because even though personally, I think the benefit of a Tesla is so
not the 0 to 60 times.
Yeah, it's. I mean, they have competitive ranges. They've got the media console. They've got the over-the-air updates. They've got all these other reasons. What
was the old car thing people used to say?
Safety.
It was like podium sell cars or something.
It
was like why all the car manufacturers used to be in all the races. Because winning races sold cars, but I don't remember exactly how they said it.
I don't remember. It was like horsepower sells cars.
Something.
And then like torque.
Yeah, I don't know.
Something podiums.
Yeah.
I'm sure someone's going to correct us, but it's not that important from necessarily a sales standpoint directly to have the performance crown, but it's really important from a marketing standpoint, because if you have the $1,000 CPU that is the best one, there's this perception that you make great products, and if I only have $200 to spend, then I'm going to get, you know, 1/5 of that greatness, you know, like that's the customer perception. So, what is it? Win on Sunday, sell on Monday. Twitch chat says.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah.
Win Sunday, sell Monday.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Got it. Yep. All right. Cool. So, right. 12th gen, though. I mean, who's actually spending $500-$600 on a CPU? I mean, I did that once.
Yeah.
In the entire time that I have been a PC gaming enthusiast, which is most of my life, which is kind of scary to think about now. Like, actually, the majority of my life, I spent 700 Canadian. Okay.
On one CPU?
So that was 550 US or something like that. I spent $700 Canadian on a CPU once. I kept it fairly long term. So I kept it until there was like an ill-kept secret, like enthusiast one that you should get instead.
Okay.
And then I flipped the like, you know, the consumer one that everyone knew about for quite a bit. And then I actually ended up saving some money and getting more performance because it's supposed to be overclockable. So the one time I spent that kind of money on a CPU, it was a revolutionary chip. Okay. I bought a 4400 plus, Athlon X2 4400 plus.
Okay.
And dual core, absolute game changer. Guys, it was double the performance in certain applications, literally double. And then aside from that, AMD also had the best single-threaded performance at the time. It was zero compromises. It had all that cache. It was either a meg of cache or a meg of cache per core. I can't remember anymore. It's minor details. And then I didn't get rid of it because it was the king for a long time. You could overclock that thing to be equivalent to the 4800 plus, which was like way more expensive, way outside my price range at that time. And I didn't upgrade it until I got an Opteron 165. So the AMD was selling their Opteron server chips on the desktop socket, and you could just like get them, and they were like supposed to be more binned or overclockable or something. I think that was all nonsense anyway in retrospect. But I got one of those for cheap, and then I sold my 4400 plus for more, so I got like the same performance or better actually. I think my 165 was actually more overclockable than my 4400 plus. So that was the route that I went. But that is the only time in my life I ever spent that kind of money on a CPU. And when you look at the difference in performance today with the release of the rest of Intel's 12th gen core lineup, you look at the difference between spending $300 or $350 and spending $600. It is nothing like it was back then.
Yeah.
Like, to get a dual core at all at that time, you had to spend that kind of money because they were the cutting edge, right? Even the cheapest one, okay, the 4200 Plus was only marginally cheaper than the 44. Whereas now you can get the vast majority of the performance for a fraction of the price. So you should. So as much as we do a lot of showcase builds with Core i9s, that's not what most people are buying. It's just that having that flagship hold the performance crown in some key application, or be it gaming, I mean, it's a big one obviously in the consumer space, is so important because it means that regardless of what the real performance numbers are, you're going to sell way more of those lower tier SKUs. So that's what AMD and Intel and NVIDIA, for that matter, are after.
You know, the most I ever spent on a CPU, I think, was sub $200.
Really?
Because of
the most
Intel Retail Edge programs.
Good old Retail Edge. Yep.
I just abused that as much as I could because if I remember correctly, I got one of those off of a friend before I worked there.
Mm-hmm.
And then once I started working there, I got them. And then after I had worked there, you know, the whole told you that story before. So yeah, that's a thing.